Here and do.
Yeah.
Yep. 2, 3.
And
Can you hear and do you care?
know the feeling
Can you see
that your elders
we
grew
must
by?
be free
And so
to teach your children what you believe in. Make a world that we can live in. Teach. Yeah.
your parents.
Can we just do it again for me? Yeah. Same thing. Let's
Same
do
thing.
8. Let's do 8 counts. Can you hear? Do you care?
Know the feeling
Can you see
that your elders grew
must
by?
be free
And so
to teach your children what you believe in. Make a world that we can live in. Yeah. Feel good? Brian, do you think I should go and just stay under, or should I go jump up above?
Stay under.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, the up is their harmonies, but I would be like jumping over, so I think it doesn't sound quite as good. Okay. Okay. Can you see? Can you hear? And do you care? Can you see? We must be free to. How are you rhythming children what? Teach your children what you, like in the middle of that verse. Is that how you're doing it? Teach your children what you. Yeah. Okay. Cool. That's what I'm doing. Yeah. Right. Children. What? Just whisper.
What do you believe?
Cool.
And I realized I've never sang the in. What you be, I always just like what you believe.
Yeah. But the notes are nice there. I like them. Shupa.
Diane, can we just push Mike up just a little bit in the mix? Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Coral Causeway, and I'm a member of your Board of Trustees here at First Unitarian. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whether you carry joy or sorrow in your heart, you are welcome here. All people of goodwill are warmly invited to join us on the great journey of the mind, the heart, and the spirit. If this is your first time with us today, welcome. Please let the offering basket pass you by. Your presence is gift enough. We hope you'll join us for coffee and conversation in the community room right out those doors after the service. We'd love to get to know you and answer any questions you have about our community. You can also stop by the visitor information table near the exit. They can also answer some questions that you have. If you're looking for ways to engage with our community and support the work of our congregation, please visit the opportunities table at the back of the community room. There are a variety of activities that would welcome more helping hands, and we would love to match you with something that inspires you. Please remember to silence your cell phones and other electronic devices, and welcome to worship this morning. And we have a couple of announcements. Karen, if you'd like to come up and make your announcement.
Good morning. I'm Karen, and I just recently joined the Connections Committee, and I'm here to let y'all know that we have a few spaces available for September for the greeting table before service and the visitor information table after service. And we're going old school for a little bit. We have a hard copy that you can put your name on and go home and put it on your calendar. I'll have this purple folder at the information table. Thank you.
Would you like to teach UUs? Tell me which you'd choose. Would you like 5th grade or first? Choosing none would be the worst.
I could not teach UUs. That's not something I would choose. I can't imagine where I'd start. I've no great knowledge to impart.
Would you like it if I say that you'll come to church one day? A smiling kid will wave, and that you'll be the one she's waving at. You'll connect with parents too and learn what's what and who's with who. They'll thank you for the job you did in working hard to teach their kid. And if those reasons aren't ideal, here is one that could appeal. When you teach, you just might find your own beliefs get more refined.
It might be fun if, like you say, kids wave at me at church someday, and I connect with parents while refining my own belief style. But in my real life, I don't teach. Won't these kids be hard to reach?
Would you, could you, if you knew about the kids who'll be with you? They value interest over skill. They look for patience, heart, and will. They just want folks who'll help them learn. Sign up, and take your turn.
All right. If you will let me be, I'll sign up and then we'll see. Say, I like this teaching stuff. I don't think I can get enough. Sign me up for 2 months more. I should have done this years before. The kids are bright and have such fun. I'm sad to see them go when the lesson's done. Everything you said is true. I've met some kids and parents too. So I do so like to teach UUs. I am so glad you helped me choose. Thank you.
And just a quick introduction if you've missed the last couple services. I'm Leslie Harvey, the new Director of Family Ministry and Inclusion. Yes, thank you. Got props from Jan back there. It's a high recommendation. I have a table here near the stairwell. We're looking for volunteers, obviously. And we're also hoping families will start registering kiddos, and we're going to start programming on September 15th. Thank you.
Okay, everybody, spend just a couple of minutes greeting the people sitting around you today.
Whoever you are and wherever you are so very welcome here. Particularly if this is your first or second time joining us here at First Unitarian, we're glad that you're here. Please join me in singing our song of welcome. Welcome.
Good morning, First Unitarian. I got to tell you, I want to tell you what we're doing with our service today because it's a little unusual, but I'm excited. And I'm excited, not but. I am not preaching this morning. I have invited 3 of our seasoned, professional, gifted educators to share this morning some reflections on their profession and vocation. And it seems appropriate for this time in a year when all the kids have gone back to school and all the teachers have started their classes again, and we at First Unitarian are getting ready to ramp up our own religious exploration program. So that's what's happening this morning. I cannot wait to hear what they have to share with us, and that's what's going on. I picked this call to worship today in honor of what we're up to. This is the conclusion of Maya Angelou's poem on the pulse of morning. Lift up your eyes upon the day breaking for you. Give birth again to the dream. Women, children, men, take it into the palm of your hands, mold it into the shape of your most private need, sculpt it into the image of your most public self. Lift up your hearts. Each new hour holds new chances for a new beginning. Do not be wedded forever to fear, yoked eternally to brutishness. The horizon leans forward, offering you space to place new steps of change. Here on the pulse of this fine day, may you have the courage to look up and out and upon me, the rock, the river, the tree, your country, no less to Midas than the mendicant, no less to you now than the mastodon then. Here on the pulse of this new day, may you have the grace to look up and out and into your sister's eyes and into your brother's face, your country, and say simply, very simply, with hope, good morning.
You're the engine that makes all things go, and you're always in disguise, my hero. I see your light in the dark, smile in my face when we all know it's hard. There's no way to ever pay you back. Bless your heart, no, I love you for that. Honest and selfless, I don't know if this helps it, but good job. You're doing a good job, good job. You're doing a good job, don't get too down. The world needs you now. Know that you matter, 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 yeah. You're doing a good job, good job. You're doing a good job, don't get too down. The world needs you now. know that you matter, 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 yeah. 6 in the morning, as soon as you walk through that door, everyone needs you again. The world's out of order. It's not a sound when you're not around. All day on your feet, hard to keep that energy. I know when it feels like the end of the road, you don't let go, you just press forward. You're the engine that makes all things go. Always in disguise, my hero. I see your light in the dark. Smile in my face when we all know it's hard. There's no way to ever pay you back. Bless your heart, I love you for that. Honest and selfless, I don't know if this helps it, but good job.
You're doing a good job, a good job.
Good job.
You're doing a good job. Don't get too down.
The world needs you now. Know that you matter, 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 yeah. It's a good job.
You're doing a good job, a good
Good
job.
job.
You're doing a good job.
Don't get too down. The world needs you now. Know that you matter, 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 yeah. The mothers, the fathers, the teachers that reach us, strangers to friends who show up in the end. From the bottom to the top, the listeners that hear us, this is for you. You make me feel it.
You're doing a good job, a good
job.
You're doing a good job.
Don't get too down. The world needs you now. Know that you matter, 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 yeah.
Sorry, friends. Any children who would like to come for a story, or any youngsters young at heart, are welcome to come too. So today we're going to be hearing from some teachers, and so I brought my favorite book about a little mouse and her favorite teacher. It's called Lily's Purple Plastic Purse, and it's by Kevin Henkes. Lily loved school. I love school. She loved the pointy pencils. She loved the squeaky chalk. And she loved the way her boots went clickety-clickety-click down the long, shiny hallways. Lily loved the privacy of her own desk. Mine. She loved the fish sticks and the chocolate milk every Friday in the lunchroom. Straws make everything taste better. And most of all, she loved her teacher, Mr. Slinger. For you, she's giving him a flower. Mr. Slinger was as sharp as a tack. He wore artistic shirts. He wore glasses on a chain around his neck. And he wore a different colored tie for each day of the week. Wow, said Lily. That was just about all she could say. Wow. Instead of greetings, students, or good morning, pupils, Mr. Slinger winked and said, howdy. He thought that desks in rows were old-fashioned and boring. Do you think you rodents can handle a semicircle? And he always provided the most tasty snacks, things that were curly and crunchy and cheesy. I want to be a teacher when I grow up, said Lily. Me too, said her friends, Chester and Wilson and Victor. There's a lot more to this story, but it's very long, so I'm going to skip some really important stuff that maybe we'll read it one day when we're downstairs. I'm going to finish it with the ending. Lily ran and skipped and hopped and flew all the way home. She was so happy, and she really did want to be a teacher when she grew up. That is, when she didn't want to be a dancer or a surgeon or an ambulance driver or a diva or a pilot or a hairdresser or a scuba diver. Lily's purple plastic purse.
Hey, Brian,
Hey, Leah.
where are you going to be on September 7th?
Well, I'm going to be right here.
Why are you going to be here?
Because I'm going to be partying because it's in-gathering weekend and we have reunion on Saturday, September 7th.
4 to 7 p.m. And we need you to be here too, because it's a community celebration. This is a really fun event. We're going to have our Beatles sing-along again. We're having kind of an interactive, high-energy music show here in the sanctuary with great singers and a band, and then taco bar, and dinner's included for everyone, but we do need you to RSVP so we know how many folks we're feeding. So I hope to see you all there. Can't wait.
Come party with us. Woo! And in the meantime, would you please rise in body and or spirit and join me in doing some singing this morning. We're going to sing Sia Hamba, which you can find the sheet music in the Teal hymnal number 1030. But the words will be on the screens behind me. Sia hambe kukanyen kwenko, sia hambe kukanyen kwenko, sia hambe kukanyen kwenko, sia hambe kukanyen kwenko, sia hamba hamba sia mahiko, sia hambe kukanyen kwenko, sia hamba hamba sia hamba. We are marching in the light of God. We are marching in the light of God. We are marching in the light of God. We are marching in the light of God.
The light of God. We are marching, marching, we are marching.
We are marching in the light of God.
Light of God. We are marching. We are marching. We are marching in the light of God.
We are singing.
We are singing in the light of God. 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 The light of God. We are singing. We are singing. We are singing in the light of the light of God. We are singing. We are singing. We are singing in the light of God.
We are dancing.
Dancing in the light of God. We are dancing in the light of God. We are dancing in the light of God. We are dancing in the light of the light of God. We are dancing, dancing. We are dancing. We are dancing in the light of the light of God. Dancing, dancing. We are dancing. We are dancing in the light of God.
First Unitarian. I was at a meeting earlier this morning with the Religious Education Committee, and some anecdotes came up of kids who have gone through our religious education program, and I was reminded of one from my own child. And this was a field trip that he went on. I think he was about 8, and they needed parent chaperones, and so I went on this particular field trip, and we were touring Grace Cathedral down here on Colfax Avenue, great big beautiful church inside. And at one point one of the priests was talking to the kids, and they asked the kids, so would any of you, do any of you attend this church, and would any of you like to attend this church? And my kid spoke up and said, well, I'm a Unitarian Universalist, and I'm an agnostic, so I wouldn't be welcome in your church. But you would be welcome in my church. I am up here to invite the offertory. And there's no particular reason you would do this, but if you ever were sitting here thinking, gee, I wonder, like, how does First Unitarian pay its bills? You know, the lights and the maintenance on this beautiful old building and the staff salaries and all that kind of thing. And one of the things I tell folks at our introductory classes is, if you are ever finding yourself at church and wondering, gee, how does that happen? Here's the answer. Look around. This congregation and all its work with our religious education program and all the programming and the wonderful music and the lives that we transform every single day, that happens because this community supports itself. So as the basket comes around, please give generously to support that work. And again, if this is your first time with us, let that basket pass you by. We're just glad you're here. Thank you.
Paging Mike Moran to the stage.
Mike's going to play guitar with us.
Yeah.
Hey, if you this is a classic. You know Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. You sing along.
1, 2, 1.
Thank you. Your offering, your generosity, freely given, are gratefully received by this congregation. Thank you for your support. I want to hold up briefly the folks who maintain this facility, which is a big job. So members of our property management committee, past and present, would you stand up briefly so we can acknowledge you? A couple of joys and concerns of our larger community I want to share. Most of you do not know this, but Becky Hammond, one of our longtime, most beloved members, several years ago was in a very minor accident. And the other person involved in this accident sued her, even though there was no particular reason for them to do that. But then they upped the suit and they hired a shyster lawyer, and they've basically been harassing poor Becky for years with hundreds of thousands of dollars of suits that had no justification whatsoever. Just this past week, and causing Becky lots of stress and lost sleep. Just this past week, it went to court, and the judge threw the whole thing out. So Becky is very relieved, and she should be, and it was a real abuse of the whole system. I also want to just hold up this morning, I want to hold up all the students who returned to school last week, and I want to hold up all, and especially the teachers and the classroom assistants and the administrators and the janitors and the counselors who work every day to make our schools safe and nurturing. Thank you for all that you do. I do think public education is maybe the best thing liberals ever invented. I want to send out and ask us all to send out strength and clarity to some of our families who have teenagers determined to do things the hard way. And I mean physically, socially, emotionally, spiritually, and relationally. May those families be surrounded by a village of love and support. Amen. I want to ask for prayers of clarity, comfort, and healthy boundaries to one of our members who is trying to cope with someone they love dearly who is also using methamphetamines. And this is just really hard. For non-drug users, it is really hard to understand how someone would choose a drug over friendships, over family, over any kind of stability. May your loved ones seek help, and may both of you also be surrounded by a village of love and support. And I just also want to name and recognize this morning and hold in honor and in love some of our elders here at First Unitarian facing deterioration of bodies that don't work like they used to, aches and pains, and utterly unwelcome fragility. We see you. Your spirit is fierce and your tenacity is astonishing. We see you and we love you. So, by way of a prayer this morning, I want to share with you something my old friend, Reverend Catherine Linesh, wrote. And she wrote this on the occasion of her ordination into the Unitarian Universalist ministry. There is a place of wholeness and peace, from which all things come and to which all return. Sometimes we know it in part while we're here. On the shores of Mono Lake, the spirit of an ancient woman came to me. She taught me about the hollow core at the center through which the Great Spirit flows. She said, "Weave," and she taught me how. She sent me out to gather the willow where the stream flows deep and clear. She said, "Sing to it while you gather, so it will be supple and bend easily. Move and pray and dream as you weave. Transform the gifts of the earth into a basket of purpose, a basket of beauty. Shape a vessel which holds all precious things. Those who weave patterns of wholeness and peace know that this work is eternal. Make it your life. And make of your life this prayer. So I walk with you now, today, with this simple prayer. Love life. Receive and always give back more than you take. And as the wind comes through that hollow place in your being, listen to its call and teach what you know. Amen.
So this next song was requested by one of the teachers that you'll be hearing speak in a few minutes. She said that her professor in grad school dedicated this song to her teaching cohort and asked them to use creativity to apply the lyrics to their dedication in teaching.
When I look into your eyes, it's like watching the night sky or a beautiful sunrise where there's so much they hold. Just like them old stars, I see that you've come so far to be right where you are. How old is your soul? Well, I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. I'm giving you all my love. I'm still looking up. And when you're needing your space to do some navigating, I'll be here patiently waiting to see what you find. Well, I won't give up. Stars there, not if the skies get rough. I'm giving you all my love. I'm still looking up. And when the stars they burn,
wanna be someone who walks away so easily. I'm here to stay and make the difference that I can make. Our differences, they do a lot to teach us how to use the tools and gifts we got. Yeah, we got a lot at stake. And in the end, you're still my friend. At least we did intend for us to work. We didn't break, we didn't burn. We had to learn how to bend without the world caving in. I had to learn what I've got and what I'm not and who I am. I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. I'm giving you all my love. I'm still looking up. I'm still looking up. Well, I won't give up. No, I'm not giving up. I am tough. I am love. We're alive. We are love. And we're worth it.
I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. I'm giving you all my love. I'm still looking up.
Oh, the old bones. Hi, everyone. I'm Ellen Cahill, and I'm your spirit play teacher here at UU, and I'm hoping some of you will join me. But I'm here to reflect on teaching over the years, and I could go on for a half hour, but I got about 8 minutes. So what I want to start with is that at my core group last Sunday, we talked about our life purposes. And it turned out that for me, it was teaching. Now, how did I get there? Well, I got there because I was born during World War II, which meant that I lived with grandparents and aunts and uncles waiting for Daddy to come home. So very, very young, I learned the importance of community. A classroom is about community. And so it became a life purpose for me to extend that early experience into teaching. And I want to share with you some of the little practical wisdoms I've learned as I went along in this career that lasted 50 plus years, 60 years. So I'm the old hat in the group, and I have enough stories for 60 years, but I'm going to try to keep it short. So some of the things that I learned is, first of all, I cannot be a know-it-all. When you're teaching, there's somebody out there that's teaching you too, and they're often much smaller than you are. And I'm thinking about the time that Cora and Owen and their little bunch was up in Spirit Play, and I was teaching this version of the Good Samaritan that the Spirit Play manual has, in which this little boy is new to school and he gets knocked down by a bully and his ball is taken away. And as I'm telling the story, they say, "Oh, this is a terrible story. You should not be telling this story." And I said, "Well, wait a minute, it's going to get okay." And they said, "Nope, this is how this should go." So they started taking the little manipulatives, and the little boy's he's fallen down, and the bully's gone off with the ball. But the next person who comes, they don't pass him by. They pick him up. They get him a Band-Aid. Then they go out into the field, and they find the little boy with the ball, and they say, "Hey, this is not right."
And so they bring him in, they make him apologize, give the ball back, kind of do reparations, and then they all go out and play together, including the little boy who took the ball in the first place. I thought, that's so much better. And so I learned that being a know-it-all is not a good choice to make when you're teaching, because your children will teach you well. The second thing I wanted to point out is that when you teach, you live in community. And because it's a community, my role as a teacher was and still is, keep it safe. Acknowledge the differences. Allow tolerance to build into love. Your children will not learn a single thing if you haven't first taken care of those needs. And that's the same thing here with our community. Our community cannot thrive unless we build safety, acknowledgement, acceptance. So my purpose in life through teaching and even being a member of this church community is to build community. My third point is go with the flow. So, as a leader and a teacher, I learned to recognize that I had to let things go at times, just like that first story. And I think about the time when my friend Ruth Mathers and I combined our classroom. She had a group of 5 hearing-impaired boys, really cute little guys, but the hearing-impaired often affected their communication. So we're co-teaching. She's up there moving her hands while I'm teaching whatever social studies or math, but I'm supposed to be skill teaching. And we take a break. The kids go out, they're playing soccer, they come in, and I'm ready to teach social justice lessons of some sort. And I'm looking at these faces, and these kids are really angry. And I say, okay, lesson aside. Go with the moment. The moment right now is something more important is happening among these kids. And what was happening is that there had been this miscommunication because the kids in my classroom were yelling at the kids from Ruth's classroom, and yelling was not going to make it work. These are deaf kids. Their friends are deaf. So they're yelling, you're out of bounds, and the kids are going, what are you yelling at me for? And so I learned that those are the most important moments in life, when you stop your agenda and you find out what it is that really needs to be taught in that moment. And we resolved that. And we became a better community. So obviously my real role as a teacher was to do those ABCs, right? And reading, writing, and arithmetic. So I was fortunate enough to learn in the Denver Public Schools how to become a better teacher. And I learned how to be prepared. And I found out one of the key things about being prepared as a teacher was I didn't have discipline problems. A well-planned lesson will take care of any other issues. Because here's the truth about kids. They want to learn. They want to be excited. They truly, truly want to achieve. And so if you as a teacher do your business and prepare, the other issues don't show up. And along with that, I want to talk about, lost my place. That awareness is very crucial. I think you can probably see that I've got a theme going here. And that one of the big things that I learned through the years of teaching and training, that proximity and awareness was essential to getting along with a child and dealing with them. If you have a kid in your classroom who's wandering, their mind's wandering, they're not on your lesson, that's a clue to you. That's a yellow caution sign. Something's going on. It may be that his dreams are better than what you're offering him, but it also might be that he's hungry, or she's hungry, or there's been an argument in the family, and something else bigger and more important is on that child's mind. So I learned to get close to that child. I learned to ask the open-ended question that if they were ready to share, I was ready to listen. Because that daydreaming is not an unpurposeful moment. It's a moment where a child's needs are greater than what you're offering. The other thing I wanted to say, and this is a no-brainer, take breaks. Recess is important. I don't know how people think that recess is not important. If those kids with their pent-up energy don't get out and blow it off and have a moment out there where they can take a breath, they're not going to learn. I really believe in recess. And you can't imagine how many times I was told by experts to count the minutes that I had taught for language arts or math or so forth, and clock it down. No, take the break. The break is absolutely essential. And then I wanted to say that celebration is really important. And part of that celebration has to do with having a sense of humor and laughing with the kids. I used to play a game where I was teaching Roman numerals where we played it with like a bingo game. And then when somebody got it, we yelled, "Hail Caesar salad!" We had blast doing that sort of thing. But I also learned that having this sense of humor is essential to being a good teacher. We were just sharing over here, Charlotte and I, that how many times we've been laughing about things that happen in our classroom and with kids. But I got a Becky Hammond joke that she told me last Sunday. It goes like this. This little guy comes up and his teacher says, "What are you reading?" And he says, "I'm reading this best book about elephants." And she says, "Oh, what's the title?" "A Frickin' Elephant." AFRICAN, in case you guys are slow on the uptake. But anyway, it's that moment where somebody's made a mistake, including yourself, where if you don't laugh about it, if you don't understand that making mistakes is essential to learning, you're going to turn kids off and they will not learn. So embrace the times of your own mistakes, have some humility, and get the kids to laugh at theirs. Because then they can move on, they can make a change, and their lives can go on to learning. And so I'm going to conclude now with something serious here. Now that I'm almost 81, I think my teaching is for a higher purpose. It's about what Thomas Aquinas called goodness, beauty, and truth. And I get to do that here at the First Unitarian Church. When I was a very, very beginning teacher, Helen Henry, our dear minister's wife, came over to the St. Elizabeth School where I was teaching. I was a nun, but we'll talk about that at another day. She came over and she approached us about getting our children to do artwork about what they thought God looked like. I had this little boy, Eddie. He's African American, and we went to work at it, and he drew this picture. Can you kind of picture a Matisse? Picture an icon of a big black figure with eyes staring out at you. And the sky is this deep, deep indigo with bright yellow stars flashing in it. That was his God. So I get to witness when I teach spirit play, in godly play, in spirit play, what our children do with that great mystery. And I want to conclude, hope I haven't gone over too much, kids, but this is something I got out of a teacher manual, spirit play, about my life purpose now as a teacher. Human beings search for meaning. We notice and marvel at the world we live in. We wonder about the great questions of living and birth and illness, joy and death. It is a human need to make meaning of this world and our place in it so that we can live lives filled with purpose. We ask questions. Who am I? Why am I here? What happens after I die? What is this mystery that some people call God or goddess or source? What do I believe in? These existential questions of ultimate concern, we try to answer here at our church. This process of meaning making that we engage in is one of the many definitions of spirituality. And as far as we know, it's unique to us human beings. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Charlotte Broadkern, and although I've been a teacher my whole working life, my real dream job was to be a singer-actress on Broadway. Somehow, my father convinced me to major in education, just in case things didn't work out, which of course they did not, or maybe they did work out, because I just retired last year after 34 years of teaching. Thank you. So I've taught preschool through 5th grade, and then in my last 12 years, I taught specifically music and art. I started teaching in Chicago at the #1 ranked school located in Lincoln Park neighborhood when I was 22. I went in as a substitute teacher with an aim to support my acting career and was offered a job day 2. And since acting wasn't really going so well, I took the job. Besides 5 years of teaching in an elite school, I've taught exclusively and by choice in schools with marginalized students. Teaching job number 2 was in New Mexico, where I taught 3rd graders who lived in trailers in my very own trailers classroom in the desert. And after moving to Denver, I've worked in several under-resourced neighborhood schools, landing in the end at Beach Court Elementary, which I've talked about lots of times here, with 88% of students needing free and reduced lunch, and most who live below the poverty line, and many who are undocumented. Early in my career, teachers were allowed to be really creative. It was a really fun time, I think, to be a teacher. I got to choose how I thought my kids would learn best. I remember teaching in Chicago. I taught my kids reading through the libretto of The Magic Flute, and then we went to go see it. It was kind of an elite school. But then throughout my career in those early years, we did all kinds of fun things. I took my kids to the zoo all the time, and we did research on animals. We wrote plays, we performed them, we made terrariums, we memorized poems, hatched eggs, planted gardens, built kites that flew. I even got reprimanded because I was overzealously teaching kids about Iraqi culture through children's games, songs, and food during the Iraqi war. It may sound like we were just having a lot of fun, but it was a lot of work. It was an intense learning in reading, math, science, and social studies, and we did work hard. We came to work hours before the kids did. We stayed late. We worked at home. You could even find teachers at school on the weekends, myself included. But I think in the early 2000s, there was a shift in teaching, and accountability and structure were really important, were paramount, especially in low-achieving schools. And this is when I began to dislike my profession. We were testing kids relentlessly, and we were rewarded or we were punished with, we're rewarded monetarily or punished with probation or even losing our job, depending on student outcome of testing. All curriculum was now provided by the district. Teachers had to strictly follow all guidelines and instructions so that each class was teaching the same thing at the same time, the same way in every classroom across the district. Teaching and learning became overly stressful for both teachers and for students. And we never knew when an administrator might pop in and catch us teaching something extracurricular, so we were often terrified. We went from learning in fun, creative ways to teaching what was going to be on a test. And we spent approximately 6 weeks of precious learning time testing. And it got worse. Seeing kids with their own hard lives have to come to a school that started to feel more like a boot camp was heartbreaking. Moments of joy were manufactured only on Fridays as at a forced pep rally, and students were to be silent in the halls, marching like soldiers in straight lines. They had to be silent in the classroom and track the speaker and the teacher like robots when they spoke. This was a trend. This teaching style was a trend, and you could find it in lots of inner city schools across the country, and often used in schools with students of color. And we were still coming in early to work and staying late and working at home and on the weekends. And now, on top of it, we knew in our hearts that we were not helping our students become the wonderful people they could be. But, let's see, in 2012, I decided to go back to school. So I went to music school. I went to Metro State so I could get a license to teach music. And after that, at least for me, teaching felt more meaningful. And since the pandemic, and even a little bit before, and this was, I think, part of it because of the shift in how children felt. I've seen a change in approaches of teaching again, and this time with a focus on social and emotional well-being of our kids, giving students voice and choice in their learning. The children changed greatly during the pandemic, being away from their peers, and teaching had to change with them. But that's kind of where I stopped teaching, and I'm curious to see what happens. My favorite part about teaching in general is working with kids. I love them. Kids are fun. The quiet kids, the creative kids, even the tough ones. These little people are real, and they are brutally honest, although they lie all the time. And you know exactly where you stand with them. You don't need an expert to tell you if you're successful. Your students' faces and their actions tell you every day, every minute. They know how to push your buttons, but if you're good and you have some experience, you learn how to hide those buttons. It gave me great joy to give them the freedom and tools to be creative and to learn how to be themselves and what they are capable of and watch them grow. My worst experiences in teaching have almost always been with adults. Administrators and parents, yeah, it's true. Administrators and parents who have not been in your shoes, yet know how to do it better. Since school is a shared experience, everyone believes they know how teaching works. It probably took me 10 years to really know how to teach effectively, and still every single year and every single day, it's something new and different. The hardest part about teaching is not taking all the baggage home with you and not worrying endlessly about a student who you might not have seen or heard of in a week, or who comes to school hungry. Thank God for free lunch, I tell you. Yeah. Or not worrying who's not progressing the way they should. And of course, dealing with difficult student behavior and students who are not in control of their emotions and actions is extremely frustrating. And to be in a school where you have difficult students, parents complaining, and administration that's not supportive, all at the same time, will make you want to quit. This is a shared experience of teachers, but we persevere because we love the kids. When it's good, teaching is like an out-of-body experience. You begin at 8, and before you know it, it's 3. You start your first day of class in August, and before you know it, it's December. Am I right? It's crazy. Let's see. And in my last years of teaching, when I was getting tired, I often thought of that, and it was a relief. You only live in the moment when you're teaching. There is so much planning that has to go to be successful, but when you're in that classroom, it's the whole world. There's no way to think about your problems that you might have at home, even if you want to. And I've learned many life lessons in the classroom. One, which is you can't make a person learn, not even a small person. But when they decide they want to learn, there's no stopping them. A teacher's job is to find out what makes that person want to learn something and jump on it. It's a huge privilege to be able to get to know kids as their minds develop, and a huge responsibility to be part of that development. Although my dream job was really to be on Broadway, I don't regret that I chose a different path. Not at all. Thank you.
Oh. I don't have my own children. My name is Julia. I was lucky to be raised in the Unitarian Church, and the 7 principles remain the guiding light of my spiritual practice. If you are newer to First Unitarian, you might not know me because I primarily watch services online for the exact reason I'm here today. I teach public high school. I sleep in on Sundays. This week I started my 11th year in education and my 8th year at my current school. I teach in a Title I international baccalaureate school serving low-income kids. 60% of our students are multilingual learners and many have high levels of trauma. We are an open access IB school that affirms that any student who wants that challenge deserves that opportunity regardless of test scores. I teach government, geography, US history, beginning English, and 9th grade English. Yes, I'm tired. The majority of my students are immigrants or refugees who are in the beginning stages of learning English and American culture. My students are from 16 different countries and speak 7 different primary languages. Working in this context is living my faith. My work is grounded in my favorite UU principles: justice, equity, and compassion in all human relations, and respect for the interdependent web of all existence. My classroom is a daily exploration of the global human condition. The best experiences of teaching will forever be working with kids who can barely say, "Hi, how are you?" in English on their first day in my class, and then seeing them in their senior year telling me in English about their college or career plans that were made possible by our time together. Being raised Unitarian by an incredible mom gave me the safe landing place to dream of possibilities for my future. Now I get to be one of the safe adults in my students' lives that allows them to dream of the endless possibilities that their parents could only hope for. Last year, we had 67 students graduate with the Colorado Seal of Biliteracy, granting them a high school diploma in English and their first language. Our salutatorian was a young woman from Afghanistan who is now pursuing dentistry at the University of Colorado, Denver. Teaching changes how I watch the news because my classroom reflects the decisions made in those beautiful white buildings in Washington. While my teaching experience is unique, all of us have a variety of experiences with the education system. We all have opinions about the strengths, weaknesses, frustrations, and celebrations with the American education system. For parents, their verbalized perspective on the education system is often only focused on all of the shortcomings where we have misstepped to support their kids, overlooking all of the incredible things we are already doing. Parents rightfully should be their kids' greatest advocate, and teachers are doing everything they can for every child. The buzzwords sometimes diminish that the youth mental health crisis and the teacher shortage is real. It is pervasive and it is overwhelming. In my district, there are currently 242 open positions for teachers and support staff, including counselors, administrators, cafeteria workers, bus drivers, and security. 48 of those are unfilled classroom teacher positions. With a generous assumption of an average class size of 30, that means 1,500 kids in my district do not have a teacher and are being crammed into overcrowded classrooms. With a shortage of 108 paraprofessionals, it means students with learning disabilities are missing opportunities and one-on-one support. The shortage of substitute teachers means the tiny amount of plan time to prepare lessons, grade papers, and respond to parent emails stack up while we cover classes. Parents advocating for their kids are emailing teachers who simply cannot respond in a realistic time frame. We are all doing our best, and giving each other grace should be an expression of our faith. While my teaching experience has had incredible highlights, there are dark days too. Over the last 11 years, I've watched too many parents bury their child from opioid overdose, car accidents, and gun violence. The trauma from each of these tragedies ripples through our community. The trauma of poverty, hunger, and homelessness is undeniable. The COVID years were hard, but teaching during the Trump years was excruciating. I had students who had been in the cages, separated from families that were too terrified to give accurate contact information to the school for fear that we would give that information to ICE. Families that were too scared to admit that their children did not speak English because it would identify them as an immigrant and targeted as undocumented. Those years were the biggest test of my faith and fuel my determination to make sure that we never go back. But what kept me grounded was knowing that science and faith are intertwined. All of the research on child development and trauma says that a trusted adult offering hope is the best intervention for healing trauma. My faith grows when we are healing in community. Offering hope to young people is using science to live my faith. The good news is that we are starting to acknowledge that trauma is real, and it must be addressed honestly if we are ever going to heal and build a future that offers opportunities for every child. Throughout all of it, my favorite moment of every day is the quiet moment opening my classroom door every morning, knowing that it is the safe landing place for so many kids. That no matter what circumstances they are waking up to, when they walk in my room, they are safe. I may not be able to change the world. I cannot stop the violence, racism, xenophobia, or poverty, but I can dig where I stand. I can grow a garden in my classroom where kids have fertile soil to plant their dreams and opportunities become possible. If after everything I've said you know anyone considering a career in education, I would still say, minus the student loan debt, it is the best job in the world. It will crack your soul wide open, but if you plant seeds in the cracks and pray for rain, you can make a difference and be inspired every day. The most important thing to remember is that kids come to school every day either to learn or to be loved. Your job every day is to figure out what each kid needs, and either way, they need you. My job fulfills everything I wanted in a professional career. I wanted to find something I'm good at, that I love to do, that can help improve the world, and I get paid to do. Ultimately, our schools are a direct reflection of our society. Our society can never truly improve until our schools do. Be an ally to your kid's teacher and share your calm with them. Donate supplies to them. Yes, there will be conflict, but love is not the absence of conflict. Love is the presence of conflict with the character, courage, and integrity to battle through anyway. Student success is not always quantifiable, but it always matters. Every granola bar I give out may not raise their test scores, but it is the first step towards raising kids who believe in themselves and have the energy to believe in the possibility of their future. Even though my career and professional evaluation is on getting the measurable success of test scores, if we focus on the humanity of every child, the test scores will follow suit. No kid has ever cared what I know until they know I care about them. And that is the real expression of my faith.
Please rise in body and or spirit and join me in singing This Little Light of Mine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, oh let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, oh let it shine. Join me in singing our closing affirmation. Behind all our differences and beneath our diversity, there is a unity that makes us one, binds us forever together throughout all time, life and death, and the space between the stars, throughout all time, life and death, and the space between the stars.
Do we have some awesome people at our church or what? Those who weave patterns of wholeness and peace know that this work is eternal. Make it your life and make of your life this prayer. Love life. Receive and always give back more than you take. And when the wind blows through that hollow place in your being, listen to its call and teach what you know. Our service is ended. Amen.